The head of the CIA, his computer has been hacked. But this is the kicker. The person who hacked it, or at least taking credit for it, is a teenager. The hacker, who claims he's a high school teenager, angry about the plight of the Palestinians, he posted on Twitter the names and what he says are the social security numbers of a who's who in the intelligence community. The list, it includes Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson and a host of current and former senior security officials. The stolen information allegedly was gleaned from a breach of private email accounts containing the background security files and other documents of CIA Director John Brennan. The hacker claims he infiltrated Brennan's account by tricking Verizon and AOL employees into resetting his password. The Twitter account posting this information was abruptly taken down last night. Today, the FBI and Secret Service are racing to identify the hacker and see if they can build a case against him. So on this subject today, I spoke about this with cybersecurity expert Robert Siciliano. You know, I know how maybe the layperson felt about this, but from your vantage point as a professional, if this is true, these claims, and it's who claims to be doing it, that a high schooler with friends, for a guy who lives this, are you shocked by this, about a capacity of a high schooler to do it? Or are you more surprised it took this long for a hacker to have this kind of confidential information for obviously somebody who's America's top spy?
What's most shocking is that America's top spy is using AOL. And that that account isn't protected with two-factor or two-step authentication. So there are so many ways to get in, and there are so many ways to protect yourself, and not deploying the most effective ways to protect yourself and being the head of the CIA is astonishing to me.
Would the regular person be surprised, Robert, how prevalent these opportunities for security breaches are at the top levels of government, let alone intelligence communities? Or is this an anomaly that Brennan was a dinosaur and he's still using an AOL account? Which is it? That this is an outlier, or unfortunately this is more the norm that's going to be becoming more normal, these kind of breaches?
The recent Office of Personnel Management breach affected over 20 million federal employees and some family members, and along with another 5 to 6 million fingerprints. The Office of Personnel Management handles quite a bit of critical information that allows for security clearances for much of those federal employees, and it is said that maybe potentially the Chinese hacked that data. So that does not surprise me, unfortunately, that the director of the CIA was hacked as well, because the federal government, unfortunately, does not have it together like they should.
So to that end, the obvious question of this debate that so rages, obviously in a political climate, Hillary's use of her personal server versus if she was still on a government server, which probably is more vulnerable?
I would say that Hillary had a lot more security in place than maybe government agencies that would have handled her personal information. You know, at this point, taking control of your personal information, you know, making sure that your devices are properly protected, making sure that you have antivirus, anti-spyware, anti-phishing, utilizing a virtual private network to protect your wireless connections, even setting up your own email server, having two-step or two-factor authentication. These are all things that consumers should do that many of those in government don't do.
So what keeps guys like you up at night in terms of vulnerabilities? There's one thing with a bunch of high school guys who claim to be stoned half the time that they're trying to embarrass the head of the CIA, but obviously there could have been intelligence assets that were exposed. But what about people that through espionage or through hacking screw up the national grid or impact the water supply? What are areas connected to not just, you know, sensitive data, but also technological in terms of infrastructure that could cause headaches in this country that are the stuff of Hollywood movies?
Yeah, you already hit the nail on the head. Two things. Attacking our critical infrastructures, if the power goes down for any period of time, a week or more, we will devolve, I think, into total chaos in a very short period of time. Not having running water, not having gasoline in the trucks that deliver food, not having electricity to refrigerate anything. We're not prepared as a society, as citizens, for more than a few days worth of food or clean water for that matter. Most people don't have food stores or clean water. And that right there in and of itself, it will be chaotic. That and if the financial industry is attacked in a way where the financials are wiped out, meaning our money mostly is ones and zeros on computer networks. If that data is wiped out, I don't even want to think about it.
Finally, Robert, do we have the technology? Does it exist that we have to, totally, scrub these servers, handle things differently at the most sensitive levels? Or is it the reality that the hackers are just one step ahead, whether they're from China, Russia, or some high schooler with his buddies just trying to cause trouble? Can we outpace people with bad intentions here in this world?
Well, the good news is the lights are on, right? The food's being delivered, and the banks are relatively secure for the moment, which means that the good guys, the white hat hackers, the ethical hackers, the security programmers and so forth are ahead of the game due to the fact that everything's functioning. But all that being said, new exploits, vulnerabilities are discovered every day. And so it's important that we keep up the pace of being ahead of the bad guys. Certainly they are ahead in some aspects, but more so, good guys are winning, but it may not always be the case. When you see such carelessness like this particular hack, it definitely is cause for pause.
To say the least. Hey, Robert, I really appreciate some time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we say, we'll continue to follow the story. But up next, just 2 weeks before Election Day, there's a local race in our region that has been thrown into turmoil. That one, the candidate for sheriff is suspended by his job as police chief. Was it politics? Was it policing? Our investigative report with Andrew straight ahead.